Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Drew. What it do? Hopefully you were having a fantastic day today. And in this episode of Brand Talk, episode 5, we're going to be talking about the brand that's on fire right now, Arc'teryx. Let's get into it. Two men by the name of David Lane and Jeremy Gard founded a brand called Rock Solid in 1989, which would eventually evolve into Arc'teryx in 1991. Jeremy Gard in particular was the reason why the brand had a shift from being called Rock Solid to then moving on to being called Arc'teryx. The name Arc'teryx is inspired by a prehistoric bird. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Archaeopteryx or have ever seen Jurassic Park or anything like that, but it kind of looks like a little velociraptor or something like that. And that's actually where the name comes from. Arc'teryx is a derivative of Archaeopteryx. The brand originally positioned itself as a rock climbing company that would sell gear for rock climbers and outdoors people. As the brand progressed through the 90s, they began to partner with Gore-Tex, and their product offerings did expand. They sold things such as backpacks, jackets, obviously rock climbing gear still, but they were really catered and they catered their products towards that outdoors aesthetic and outdoors activities. Especially in the 90s is when the brand continued to innovate and continue to push the envelope when it comes to creating products for these groups of people. The first Arc'teryx store was in 2006 and it was in Montreal. And as you guys probably can tell through the illustrations and whatnot, Arc'teryx has a deep and profound history in outdoor activities and outdoorism. Part of the reason why Arc'teryx is growing in popularity in 2020 and 2021 is because of its cosigns. You see people such as Frank Ocean, Drake, and Virgil Abloh sporting their jackets, and that just brings a lot of eyeballs and a lot of attention on the brand. We definitely live in a time where tastemakers such as these people have a huge influence on what fashion enthusiasts like to wear and what they don't like to wear. But beyond the influencers and the influence of celebrities, I think people really recognize how functional and how well made Arc'teryx jackets and products are. People love the functionality, and the history goes back to the 90s, which is something that we're also very much into as a society, as a culture in fashion, is taking things that are looking at brands and dissecting them from the past and trying to revive them and kind of repurpose them for right now. The Arc'teryx iconography is very cool and very different, and I personally am one who is interested in just the Archaeopteryx kind of logo that they have. It's a little bit different, and it does play well for them, and they are very authentic to who they are. As of recently, obviously the brand has grown in popularity, so they have some new and noteworthy collaborations that they've been able to work on. Some of the likes of which they work with is Palace, which is a kind of skateboarding brand, obviously, but it also dwells in a little bit of that kind of outdoorism with jackets and whatnot. And they also collaborated with Beams. And these are just examples of how Arc'teryx is capitalizing a little bit on the rise in popularity in recent months, and how they can continue to kind of capitalize on that for months or years to come. So for my final thoughts on Arc'teryx, guys, hopefully you guys learned a little bit about Arc'teryx and learned a little bit about why it's so popular right now and what's making it so popular. I want to say shout out to Canada, because it's another example of a Canadian born brand that is really taking the world or putting the world on notice for what things are happening in Canada and really influencing fashion and influencing style. I think the brand is very appealing. From someone who lives in Colorado, who has the Rocky Mountains literally right out my back door, a lot of people in Colorado wear Arc'teryx without really even recognizing the significance of the popularity right now. And if you're a Canadian, say for instance you're living in Alberta, or if you're living in a place where you have a lot of outdoor activities, I think that the brand really can speak to you just like a North Face or just like a Patagonia can, right? But where I think Arc'teryx separates itself from maybe something like a Patagonia and a North Face, which all have their own kind of little product offerings that are unique in and of themselves, is Arc'teryx's Canadian roots, as well as their rise to prominence in the short term and recently, you know what I mean? So I think that Arc'teryx is a brand that will continue to kind of shine and I'm excited to see what they have. I have not purchased any products from the brand yet, but you know, the more that I see, the more that I become interested in, and the more research that I do, the more that I like. What do you guys think about Arc'teryx? Is it a brand that you like? Do you have any Arc'teryx products? Do you have a jacket? Do you think it's just a super hype brand that'll die down eventually? If you look at something like North Face with its collaborations with Supreme and whatnot, could Arc'teryx be that same thing with Palace? Or, you know, different things like that are kind of what cross my mind when I think about the brand. But I also just think about how well made their products are, and how they really nailed the technologies that they use for different garments and different gear. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode of Brand Talk. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed the content. As always, like the video if you enjoyed it as well. Comment your thoughts. All those things are super important, and I know you know that. You don't need me to tell you. But I really do appreciate all the comments, all the subscriptions, and all those things, guys. It really does mean a lot. Be sure to connect with me on Instagram at DrewJoyner_. I post, you know, different outfit inspirations, outfit pictures, and just different things that I'm interested in. I host a podcast called the Beyond the Garment Podcast, and so if you guys are interested in that, tune into that. I also have my own brand called Edward Joyner, which we just released some candles and some mugs. I literally have a mug right here. Hold on. It's a Serenity mug is what we have, and then I have some candles that we just released. So if you guys are interested in any of those things, connect with me on Instagram. Hope you guys got some value out of this video. As always, spreading peace, love, and positivity in 2021. Hopefully you have a blessed rest of your day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.